So I'm sure you're aware of the news right now that Liam Delap has rejected Manchester United and chosen to join Chelsea. He's now working on personal terms. Chelsea prepared to seal the Delap deal soon. It's only going to be a £30 million deal. That is the release clause. It's underway. And I think what people forget is with Delap only costing £30 million, it's going to give Chelsea the funds to go out and buy another big attacking signing, whether it is Ekitike, whether it is a left winger, because Sancho is probably going to be sent back. Chelsea are probably going to spend big on another attacker, and we will talk about sort of Chelsea's transfer plans a bit later on. But Chelsea are closing in on Liam Delap deal as details of the long contract are being completed. It's a £30 million deal. Like, it's happening. It's pretty much agreed. It's pretty much done. They've triggered the release clause. Chelsea are finalising a deal for Liam Delap. And as a Manchester United fan, it is a bit of an L. We've had to give them 3.3 million for Mason Mount playing in the final, which they're probably going to use most of that money to send Jadon Sancho back, which is going to cost them 4.8 million. Quenda was one of Amarin's first choice targets. He's gone to Chelsea. Delap was Amarin's one of his first choice targets, Man United's first choice target. He's gone to Chelsea. As a Man United fan, Chelsea have given us a bit of a kick in the teeth lately, haven't they? They've mugged us off, but that's what happens when you're a 16th place club that is run like an absolute disgrace. I always felt that Delap was going to go to Chelsea. I felt with Chelsea having Champions League football, they're better off with Victor Osimhen. I think he's a perfect box striker, but if he's demanding ridiculous wages, you can't get him. And I think Delap being 30 million, his ability to convert chances, something Jackson doesn't have, I think it's a good signing for Chelsea. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, how he fits in at Chelsea, why I think it's a good signing. Obviously, as a Manchester United fan, it is a blow. Now, I always wanted Gyökeres and Osimhen at Manchester United, but since we've not got Champions League football, that's not realistic. And Man United aren't in a position to spend more than 40 million on a striker. So Liam Delap was becoming the best realistic option for Manchester United, him and Jonathan David. And I don't think they're going to get Jonathan David. So while Delap isn't the be-all and end-all at Man United, because Man United need an experienced striker, I think that Chelsea is a better move for Delap. I think him rotating with Jackson and what he brings and the chances Chelsea create, I think Delap will thrive at Chelsea. I think he'll be a good signing for Chelsea. I don't necessarily think he was the man for Man United. I think Chelsea's a smarter move for his career, if I'm going to be totally honest. But it's just a bit embarrassing. It's another blow to Chelsea, and this gives Chelsea funds to look elsewhere. There is talk of them bringing in Delap and Ekitike as well, but he's valued at 84 million. I think he would actually go for something like 60 million. You know, Chelsea are looking at other attackers. They want to bring in another attacking reinforcement, probably a left winger. There's links to Gittins. There's links to Rafael Leao. I wouldn't be shocked if Chelsea were looking at someone like Gittins. They've obviously got Quenda from Manchester United. They've got players like Esteval to come in, who's an unbelievable talent. He's been picked for Brazil. Like, Chelsea are in a good place. So while I think if I'm Chelsea, because Nicholas Jackson's not been the most reliable the second half of the season, maybe you want another striker on top of Delap. I think Delap for Chelsea is a really good signing. It's not like it's Man United and Man United have got to rely on him to lead the line with no service. Like, Chelsea provides service for their strikers, and Delap is very clinical. So I'm going to talk about why this is a good signing for Chelsea. So Delap is just 22 years of age. He's actually like a week younger than Rasmus Højlund, and Chelsea snapping him up for £30 million is going to be smart long-term business. He's homegrown, he's Premier League proven, he can do it in the Premier League, he's got the physicality, he ticks that quota. And to get an English player that scored 12 goals, that's young in the Premier League, that looks like the next English striker, you know, that is some achievement. To get him for £30 million, let's be honest, had Ipswich not had that clause, I think Ipswich could be looking at £45 million for Liam Delap. He's physical, he's hungry, he's fearless, he's the type of striker that I think could thrive under pressure. Liam Delap didn't get a lot of service at Ipswich. Liam Delap didn't get a lot of the ball at Ipswich, but he was able to create goals out of nothing. He was able to finish a lot of his chances. He was very clinical. When he got the ball in the box, he was able to create the angle, create the separation to get the goal off and score. Whereas Nicholas Jackson, I think, improves the players around him. He can drop deep and link play and play in the wingers. But Nicholas Jackson in and around the box is a little bit wasteful, whereas I feel like Delap is more clinical. And I think that would benefit someone like Palmer and the Chelsea players more. I think he's a more clinical player. What we know with Delap is he's physical and he's hungry. He likes the pressure, he likes the fight. And as a second number 9 to rotate with Jackson, Delap brings a different profile. You know, he's not coming in to be your main number 9 and lead the line and put all that pressure on him. He's rotating with Jackson, and he could probably push Jackson out. He's a bit more aggressive than Jackson. He's a bit more physical. He's a bit more direct than Jackson. He might offer less in terms of him dropping deep and all-round play, but in the box, which is what Maresca wants, he will offer more than someone like Jackson. And I think Jackson, with his inconsistencies, probably should have made it 3-1 when he ran and got injured in that final with the red cards. I think, Chelsea haven't been able to really rotate from Jackson because, well, when Cuckoo's been shy, you don't really have another striker. Delap was needed, and Delap, you might sell Jackson and might get an even better striker than Delap and Jackson in, and Delap can learn from them. So what is Delap going to bring to the table? Because I do think this is a really smart signing for Chelsea. I wanted Delap at Man United, but I had reservations because Man United make no service for their striker. I don't know if he's ready to lead the line for Man United, but there's less pressure at Chelsea. As I said, he can rotate. But he's got very good pace. He can be a transition outlet. He can run in behind. With the balls that Palmer put in, he will thrive off that. His hold-up play is very good. He's very strong. He's very capable of dealing with physical defenders. He seems quite comfortable, in those small spaces with physical defenders. But also, he's very good at pressing, and he's obviously worked with Maresca before, Man City Academy pressing. He knows how to press. He's very hard working for a forward, which is always good. He wanted Chelsea. He rejected other clubs for Chelsea as well. He's played as a lone striker. He's played in a 2. He's shown that he's mobile. He does like to drift wide, particularly to the left. The one thing I've noticed, and I think that might help with Palmer being your second biggest goal threat, who likes to drift to the right. Delap definitely likes to drift to the left, get that angle, pull defenders out, and get that shot off. But where he thrives is definitely counter-attacks, dribbling the ball, carrying the ball, drifting off to the left, creating space in the box, and getting the shot off. I think Delap is very good at that. And I think he's very suited to Maresca's system. If you're looking at the Man City Academy days, the pressing triggers, the way that Maresca will want Delap to link up, I think it's a good signing. I think Maresca being Man City Academy, I think Chelsea being in the Premier League, I always felt that Chelsea were going to win the race for Delap. If you watch my Man United channel, I've always said, look at the relationship with Maresca, look at where Chelsea are compared to where we are. Delap is going to go to Chelsea, even if he knows he's guaranteed starting over Højlund, whereas Jackson is a bit more competition. I've always felt that he was probably guaranteed going to Chelsea. So let's continue to talk about Delap. Now, this is one interesting thing from Delap is he got 12 goals from just 9 XG last season, which shows that natural instinct. I feel like Nicholas Jackson misses quite a few chances. He's robbed Palmer of a few assists. And while I think Nicholas Jackson and Palmer link up well, I do think in terms of someone that's going to finish the chances, if they're 1v1, again, through against the keeper, Delap's more likely to put it away than Jackson. Jackson had so much time to make it 3-1 to Chelsea, and he absolutely bottled it yesterday versus Real Betis. If you're talking about ball striking, if you're talking about power, if you're talking about 1v1s, finishing it, I think Delap is the better player in that sense of he can keep keepers off guard, catch keepers off guard, he can get a shot out of nowhere, he can find an angle, he can shoot at angles, and he's not the perfect striker. There's areas of his game that need to improve. He could improve his heading. That's a big part of what Maresca wants, a box striker, which is why we were linked to Duran and Samu last summer. He could really improve that element of his game. But he can create half chances for himself inside the box. He can create some chances for himself, which I think is good for a striker, because if Chelsea aren't creating chances and he's got the ball, he's not a complete idiot with the ball. He could go out there and he could do a bit of work, and he could create a bit of this or could create a bit of that for himself. He's got that presence in the box. That's why he's not a Victor Osimhen box striker that's going to get on the end of every cross, which is probably what Maresca would want. He's going to bring physical chaos. He's going to bring movement. He can anticipate the game well. He's better in the box than Jackson. Jackson is quite a good striker when it comes to outside the box, but in the box he's poor. Whereas Delap is better in the box in terms of his movement, his ability to get on the end of things, ability to get the shot off, and ability to score those shots, which, we've seen Jackson miss a lot of chances. Again, I thought Jackson the first 6 months of the season was one of the better players in the Premier League, and I think people are going off a bit of recency bias with Jackson, but he's not stepped up the second half of the season since his injury from Chelsea. Even just before he got injured, he dropped off a little bit. So let's talk about this in more detail. So Delap is 6'1", so he's got a strong frame. There's always questions about going to the Premier League. Can they deal with the physicality? We see Rasmus Højlund just getting completely bullied. Delap has shown he doesn't get bullied by defenders. He can deal with the physical demand even at a young age. He's got the strength. He's got the agility. And what I've not noticed about Delap is he's very agile. He's very able to get the ball into tight areas and dribble and agile. And he wins his aerial duels and he can fend off defenders well. He's not maybe the best at heading and scoring headers, but he's shown he's comfortable at winning the duels. He's comfortable in tight spaces, wiggling out, using his body. And I feel like across 90 minutes, I've watched a lot of games where Delap has caused a lot of issues. Even when he's not scored, he's had that impact. And I think, him playing in the Premier League, him showing he can match the physical levels. Because we look at Anthony. Look what Anthony's doing in La Liga. He came up against Chelsea yesterday, and he was absolutely atrocious. I think even if it's 12 goals in the Premier League and there's better players out there, you know we got 12 goals in the Premier League for a relegated side, so you know there's a somewhat decent player in there, because to do it against Premier League opposition is difficult, and I think Antony is a big example of that. Jackson's going to bring pace, runs in behind, creativity and motion, whereas Delap is going to bring strength, hold up and penalty box instinct, and that gives Maresca two really good options. Depending on the game state, he may prefer Jackson to create, to run in behind, but in other games he may prefer someone like Delap to just hold up the ball better, have the better box instincts. You know, Delap will be better in certain games, and that gives Maresca tactical flexibility as well, which will help Chelsea in certain games. I think the rotation, the tactical flexibility that gives the squad will be a big benefit, and I think either could start, and they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but they increase the direct threat for Chelsea. So coming into sort of my final points, again, he's worked with Maresca when he coached the under-23s. He understands Maresca's positional play. He understands Maresca's structure. He knows how Maresca wants a striker to link play and press smartly, and he knows how to do that. But he's also more of a box outlook than Jackson. He likes to do that. He's able to create chances here and there for himself. But the good thing about Chelsea is they create chances for the striker. It's not like he's going to Man United where he's in the graveyard shift and he's going to a team that don't create chances for him. At Chelsea, he's going to be at a team that's going to go out there and create the chances for him that he needs. And he's quite clinical and able to convert. So I think for £30 million, Premier League proven, only 22, has experience in senior football, was a highly rated youth player, the resale potential, the homegrown, I think it's a really good deal for Chelsea. I think it's a really exciting deal for Chelsea. And I guess like elements of it is annoying being a Manchester United fan potentially missing out on this. But I do think United needed a ready-made striker. But Quenda, then Delap, it is frustrating as a United fan. There's still areas of Delap's game he needs to improve. I haven't spoken about his weaknesses. I haven't spoken about areas to improve. Final third decision-making could be better. Passing around the box could be better. That's quite normal when you're young. Sometimes he goes for power over placement in his shooting. So maybe there could be composure there at times. The only thing is I think he wins a lot of aerial duels, but he doesn't win a lot of headers. And that's something that Maresca will want from his striker. But all of Delap's weaknesses are coachable. So even though there's elements of Delap's game that, yes, definitely need to improve, he's raw and he's not going to come in and be prime R9 when he joins Chelsea. He's got a lot of rawness in his game, but they are all coachable things. Anyway, people, thank you for watching today's video. Please do go ahead and hit that like button if you did enjoy. See you next time. Bye.